Taylor Swift has quietly, well, not that quietly, taken over the 2020s in a way that's both jaw-dropping and totally delightfully Swiftish. If you thought her reputation was big in pop culture, you haven't yet seen the spreadsheet of her sales. This is a story of dominance, reinvention, fandom fire, and those little moments where everything clicks. Let's dive in, and I promise you'll leave this article ready to blast your favorite Swift album, pick your crowd favorite moment, and maybe even rethink your own playlist. So, I'm pleading in y'all to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It seems almost unfair. The 2020s music landscape has streaming, TikTok virality, niche genres, global shifts, and yet one artist surfaces again and again at the summit. Why is Taylor Swift claiming the top spots for best-selling albums in the decade? She didn't just rely on one album. She kept evolving. She turned back catalog into new launches, so every era counts. She makes albums events. Release days become communal celebrations. These strategies turned casual listeners into dedicated fans, and dedicated fans into record shatterers. The surprising piece? In a streaming-first era, she made albums matter again. A physical and deep listen engagement counts. Curious which albums specifically made her top 5? Released in 2022, Midnights came at just the right moment. Swift pop vibes, introspective lyrics, sleek production. According to data, it sold 10.6 million equivalent album sales in the US during the 2020s timeframe. What made it click? A return to full-on pop with lyrical maturity, songs about sleepless nights, longing, self-reflection. Multi-format releases and bundling helped physical sales. What about the next album? The one that knocked Midnights down a notch? Let's go. In July 2020, Swift dropped Folklore out of nowhere during a pandemic, no less. It was a woody, introspective indie folk departure, and it sold over 1.2 million digital copies in that year. It broke expectations. Fans expected pop-fueled sing-alongs, got wistful storytelling instead. It leveraged the moment. We were all in our houses, needing connection. The album delivered quiet introspection. It introduced a broader audience to Swift's songwriting depth. You know, the original 1989 was a juggernaut. But what happens when you re-record that masterpiece, bring in vault tracks, recapture the moment, and market it as a celebration and an evolution? You get 1989, Taylor's version. According to data, its opening week and overall performance placed it firmly in the best-selling tier for the decade. Nostalgia sells. Fans grow older. Fans bring friends. New fans discover. Re-recording strategy gave her control and renewed momentum. So we've covered 5 to 3. Now, let's dig into the 2 that are flipping pop culture on its head. Album The Tortured Poets Department, The Record Breaker. Here's where things go insane. Released in 2024, The Tortured Poets Department not only sold huge, but shattered records. 1 week, 2.61 million units in the US, including 1.91 million in traditional sales. Increasingly, critics and fans point to it as the highest-selling album of the 2020s so far. When you go big, go event big. Release like it's a festival. Make formats tangible. Give diehards something to collect. Now, drumroll the top spot. Album, yes, she did it. The big number 1. While exact full-decade rankings aren't always publicly broken down by single artist reliably, multiple sources show Taylor Swift dominating and sitting at or near 1 for best-selling albums of the 2020s. What makes one so remarkable? Sustained presence across years, rather than one-hit wonder. Depth of catalog. She doesn't just drop one big album. She builds multiple. Maybe you're not dominating an entire decade, but what can you sustain over years? How can you build momentum rather than peak once and fade? You might not be releasing multi-million unit albums, but many of these lessons apply to business, creativity, and personal growth. Swift released surprise albums, re-recorded classics, concept pieces. Tip: don't stick to one lane. Try a side project, remix your previous work, experiment. She didn't disappear between big drops. She built presence, kept fans engaged. Tip: consistency beats one-off brilliance. A steady drumbeat wins the long game. It wasn't all sunshine and seamless success. Swift faced the streaming era challenge. Physical album sales are harder to drive in 2020s. Are you relying only on one format or platform? Does your drop schedule create anticipation or always feel the same? Are you revisiting older work with fresh eyes? How are you engaging your core audience beyond passive consumption? When you think top 5 albums, you might think artistic peak. But this is younger. It's strategy. It's loyalty. It's momentum. And you can transpose those patterns into your own life, your career, your side hustle, even your hobbies. And yes, I bet one day someone will write an article. Top 5 most consistent creators of the 2020s, and you'll realize you're studying the same playbook. What could you release next that isn't just another version but an event? Something your audience will circle their calendars for? Taylor Swift isn't just successful, she's dominating the 2020s in the way we might have once reserved for legends. But here's the kicker. You don't have to sell millions of albums to apply the lessons. You just have to be thoughtful, intentional, and community-driven. Explore one of the 5 albums mentioned and listen like a fan would to see the strategy in action. Pick one lesson from above and map out how you could use it in your own creative project path. Share your thoughts. Which album of Swift's resonates most with you and why? Post a comment, tag a friend, start a discussion.